Use a pencil first to draw a triangle and overlapping circles for your ice cream cone. Add in whatever details that you would like. And then you can use a Sharpie over top after you've done it in pencil so that you can erase any mistakes you make along the way. Painting can be very messy, so you can use one of these smocks over here to cover your clothes, and when we're done, we're going to need to wipe tables with the rags. You're going to need a palette to put your paint in, paintbrushes, possibly varying sizes for different areas, and you can put all these things on a tray. Paper towel to dry your brush and clean your brush, and then a water cup. No more than halfway full. If we fill them up higher, it's more likely to spill and destroy any project on the table. Make sure you hold the cap on tight and shake the paint if it hasn't. The white comes out super fast in this ketchup bottle, so be extra careful to only squeeze a little bit and stop immediately. Teeny tiny bits, as little, like the smallest circles you can possibly get out is how much you want. That white is going to come out a lot faster than the other colors, but you should be able to get them all about the size of this green dot, so it's not filling up the whole cup. You will never use that much paint in one class. That is a lot, so we're going to be sharing with people at our table. So now I have my colors ready. I'm going to mix blue and green together. You could just use a single color, but I wanted to kind of make an in-between. So I'm mixing these together really good, and you're not going to need a ton of it, but definitely enough to paint those first few circles. We will be adding white, so you'll be making more and more of the color as you go. So this is my darkest color, putting it on the bottom, smoothing it out, nice and neat. And for the next one up, you're going to add some white to the color that you used before, making it one tint darker. So the tint is a lighter version, a shade would be the darker version, and a tone is a gray version of a color. So that's when you hear tones, tints, and shades. We are using tints this time because we're adding white. So if it looks kind of the same as the last one, you can add a little bit more white and paint over it. But if you like it, just fill in the circle and then add some more white and move on to the next one. I'm actually moving it over to a different circle there, little hole, because there was just a lot of green overpowering that white, and I wanted the white to be more apparent. So I'm using less of that darker color, making the white even more apparent. And then as I move up to my top one, I'm really just using the paint on my brush and adding some more white to that, some more white again, and painting it the lightest color at the top. For the cone part, I'm going to add a little design with crayon first. Make it pretty thick so it shows up through the paint. And usually we do this with watercolor, but we can water down this paint hopefully enough to where it looks like watercolor too. So I'm just going to do the tiniest smidge of brown I possibly can. So we're only painting the cone. Teeny tiny. A little bit. And since I'm switching colors now, I really need to clean this brush off really well. So I'm swirling it on the bottom, trying to get all that paint out of the hairs, and then I'm going to wipe it on the paper towel and see that there was only a little bit of paint left. Looks pretty clean. So I know I can switch colors now. Again, using a teeny tiny bit of brown, grab some water, and I'm just going to pull it over here and try to make a really translucent, watery color that doesn't coat the waxy crayon surface that we just created for texture. That looks like a pretty decent color. If you don't like seeing the pencil lines underneath, you can erase them before you go over it with crayon. I think maybe I want just a little bit more brown. And notice the difference. When we use a lot of water, our paint gets really thin and almost translucent. And then when we use little tiny bits of water, you keep the paint nice and thick. If I want to add sprinkles or a cherry on top or anything else, I'm going to want to let this paint dry before going over it with another color so that they don't all just mix and muddy up together. Good luck!